Hello! This is another writing vlog after, I don't know, like a year of silence, a year and a half. No concept of how long it's been. But hi, I'm here and I've started writing again. I had started writing this story, Writers, in December the 21st in 2020. And then I decided to pick it back up on a whim, December 20th, 2021. So that's kind of what started me writing again. And instead of just being like normal, I'm gonna start writing again, I just like dove in really hard. I had been playing a lot of Breath of the Wild. So that was, I don't know, maybe a month or two of my life. Just got to a point where I kind of did most of it. I haven't completed it fully, but I was kind of like ready for something a little bit different. Instead, I decided to write my surf story, Writers. And so I picked it up, I started writing it, and from where I picked off, which was, I was maybe like 250 words in, like barely anything. It's quite a messy first draft. It's not very good. The sentence structure is really repetitive, and there's very little like character development. That's fine, because I have other short stories to edit, like all of the ones that I wrote like 2 years ago. Which you could see on this channel. You might remember some of these stories if you were watching this channel at that time. There's Hibernation, When Lost Blend In, Mirror Suzanne. There's Garden Day, but I think Garden Day is quite weak, so I'm not considering it right now. The Fire Witch of the Northern California Coast, which I've mentioned. I have a vlog where I'm like writing it. I finished that story at some point. I just wrote 2 new stories. Well, I finished up Writers, and then I wrote Chest Opener and This Stone Fireplace Will Be the Death of Me, which I just finished today. So I've been writing kind of a lot within the last 2 weeks. Part of that's because I've had some time off, so I've had a lot of time to fill, and the days are so short, so gardening hasn't been like a ton of time. You know, there's a lot of time from like 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. to just fill with not gardening. So that's where writing comes in. I had been going through my stories and doing some line editing. I rewatched one of Shaelin Writes videos on line editing, and I did some line editing for Mirror Suzanne and for Hibernation. And I was just kind of going through my old stories and like tweaking some verbs and doing that kind of thing. And then I wanted to send them out for critique. This kind of all got wrapped in together at once, and I'm not sure how it happened, but I got the idea that I have these short stories, I should try to submit them for publication. But in order to submit them for publication, I really need to make sure that they're like a good quality. And I have never been in the like circumstance where I could know if my work was of good enough quality or not. I haven't gotten like feedback like that. I took a fiction class in college. I didn't major in writing. I majored in mechanical engineering, so just quite far away from that world, right? And I didn't know how to write a story at that point. And the class didn't really help me very much in like figuring out how to do it, to be completely honest. It's taken quite a long time, and I think now I'm kind of getting it to click. So in August of 2019, I wrote 4 short stories. I wrote Garden Day, Hibernation, When Lost Blend In, and Mirror Suzanne. And that's when I was starting to get things to click, where like I understood how to build a character and how to construct a short story. And I think now I'm really understanding how to take those initial bones and fill them into a cohesive story that is worth something to other people. So that's what I'm working on right now. I signed up for this website called Critique Match. First I was pretty nervous to do it because it's like online strangers. You send them your work, they review it, they send you critique. You can critique their work as well if they send you work. and you can kind of build a rapport with strangers who are reading your work, and they give you input on it. I found it incredibly valuable. Also, it's free. They have professional services as well, but you can just do it for free. And I found that it's pretty easy. I actually quite enjoy critiquing other people's work. It's fun to see like the ideas that people come up with. I've had a few kind of off interactions on there, but it's overall been a great experience. I find it's just so helpful to see how a stranger reads your story, and especially like what do they get confused by, what is not overt enough. Sometimes as a writer, you know what the clues are, right? You pepper them in. You think that they're, pretty, you're doing too much, and sometimes you're not doing enough to actually make the connections clear for your reader. So it's been really helpful to see what they have to say, and their suggestions. And then the other thing that's been extremely helpful is that I convinced Matt to read some of my work. He read one story so far and it's just so helpful to be able to talk to somebody, talk ideas out, and see like how you can improve the story. Especially, I know for me, you get like kind of the laziness aspect of like, you think that something probably could be improved and you probably should work on it, but you convince yourself that it's like good enough. I'm not a perfectionist. It's probably not that great for writing, because I lean towards that's fine and it's not good enough. So it's good to have somebody tell you like, this is not good enough. You need to work on it. So I have done 2 major rewrites to Hibernation. Right now, Hibernation is like my front runner of like, I think this is a story that's worth publishing, but it had to undergo some reconstruction, and I think right now it's close. Maybe. It might be close. I need Matt to read it again to get the input of how I can improve it to get it to the level of being able to publish. I've also really edited the Tombstone, which is like a surf rock inspired story about a woman who goes to an island, like a rocky island, that is dedicated to surfers who have died. I have gotten that reviewed by 2 people. It's a lot more of like a plot-based story than it is character-based, and the character is a little bit weak. And I submitted that story to 2 publications. It was not ready, but I wanted to pull the band-aid off and just like submit something, especially because submission deadlines were coming up. So I thought I'd give it a try. Kind of wish I didn't now, because I did do some line editing afterwards and there were some problems. So I'm a little embarrassed, but it's fine. I learned how to write a cover letter, and I learned how to format my manuscripts, so now I can do that for anything else I want to submit afterwards. How am I finding publications? I looked up a few lists. I looked up like California literary journals, of which there are a ton, because there are a ton of universities. And there's also like, the well-known kind of prestigious California literary journals. And then you can also just look on Submittable. Shaelin Writes has a great series of videos about short stories, and she does have a video about submitting short stories where she talks about how you can find the resources that you need to do that work. She talks about Submittable, which is a platform that literary journals use very often for you to submit your short story to them. So I've been using Submittable. You can look at upcoming deadlines. You could like filter by short story, no reading fee sometimes you have to pay a fee to submit your work. So I really need to get my stuff in top shape if I'm going to submit there. And then you can look at the journals and you can read their work usually. Sometimes you have to purchase the magazine in order to read the work, but very frequently they have samples of the work that they accept on the website. So far I've been reading just a ton of short stories. 20, I read 20, and I've been noting which publication they're from, like what the title of the publication, or the title of the story and author, kind of an idea of what the length is, and then if I really liked the story or if it wasn't really something that I vibed with. And then I looked up some submission information for those journals. I want to point out a few short stories that I really, really loved. One, I'm Your Venus by Whitney Collins on the Greensboro Review. This is free to read. I loved this story. It makes me want to get published in the Greensboro Review.
Oh my god, that is a huge spider.
Alright, I haven't been in this corner of my room in a long time. Also, the sun has set, so we have a mood going on right now. The other story I adored was The Hydrangea Fairy by Elise? Carney? I don't know if I typoed that. In Alien Magazine. I loved The Hydrangea Fairy. It actually seems like, I had this idea of this woman who, at night, a mosquito whispers in her ear, and he tells her that she's forgotten something, and she doesn't know what she's forgotten. She's just, like, losing her mind about it. The Hydrangea Fairy basically scratches that itch of that, like, me having to write that story, because it basically is that story, but much, much better. And then another one that just really sticks with me, and that's Sun Prairie Events by Lydia Conklin, and that was in the Virginia Quarterly Review. This story I still feel it in my soul. Like, I remember it so much, even though when I was reading it, I was like, ugh. All three of those I think are amazing. So the other thing that I've been doing is tracking the stories that I've submitted for critique, what the word count was when they were sent out for critique, if I've completed the edits, and then the word count after. I want to talk about where I'm getting the ideas for these stories. I genuinely, for Chest Opener and This Stone Fireplace Will Be the Death of Me, looked up before I, like, went to take a shower or, like, went to do the dishes. I just looked up, like, a prompt generator, and the one for Chest Opener was like, basically, like, you find, like, a labyrinth and there's, like, something hidden inside of it. That was the inspiration for that one. And then This Stone Fireplace Will Be the Death of Me. The inspiration was, like, something about, like, I don't know, 1800s Europe, and there's goblins or something like that. I don't know. Which this story has nothing to do with that, but it just got me thinking about goblins, and for some reason it turned into this story. So I'm still on that, like, prompt kick. I think they're really useful to just, like, get ideas churning. Also, quiet time to think the story over before you write it. So I've been doing a lot of dishes and I've been taking a lot of showers. Having that time to envision the scene before you write it is just really important to me, because otherwise I end up writing just, like, shitty stuff. If I'm, like, thinking of it while I'm writing it, I, like, can't think fast enough or something. That is, I'm pretty sure, all I had to talk about today. I am doing the work. I'm doing a lot more work than I have been the entire year. Really, truly. So we're off with, like, a kick into 2022 in terms of my publication goals. I'd really like to submit to a ton of publications, like, the best that I could do, and hopefully get a story published. I would like to try to get several stories published, but for now I'm focusing on Hibernation, and somewhat I'm also focusing on the Tombstone, but I just need some input on if if it needs like some fundamental tweaking, or if I can kind of continue with how it is. Anyway, I hope your writing journey is going well, and hi, I'm still alive. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful 2022, start of the new year. I hope it treats you well, and I hope you're all safe and all of that. Okay, goodbye.